Was the party last night? Good? Yeah. All right, awesome. Yeah, it was a local that recommended Ditka's. Did anybody get the pot roast nachos? Anyone? All right, okay, achievement not unlocked. So someone needs to go check that out. So this is the last day of the conference. Thank you everyone for coming. Just want to give a round of applause to our sponsors, Enterprise DB, Second Quadrant, Heroku, and VMware, who without them, this definitely would not have happened. So thank you, sponsors. And so I'm really excited. I'm sure many of you have been following all of the news about Postgres and Postgres-related products, particularly in the cloud, over the last couple months. And I'm very excited to have Charles Fan from VMware. He's the Senior Vice President. And he's going to talk about virtualization and what we can do in the cloud with databases today. So thank you, Charles.
All right. Thank you, Serena. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be the first talk after the party. So I hope everyone had a great time last night. And thanks to Heroku for sponsoring it. VMware is a newcomer to the Postgres community. So we are here, first of all, to learn and to get ourselves familiarized with the rich history and the great excitement that's around Postgres. And we hope to contribute. And I'm here to give you a little introduction of VMware and the rationale behind our thinking related to cloud and databases. And hopefully you'll have questions. I'll be here to answer them, and we can socialize after the talk as well. So it's great to join the family here. And today, I'm going to first talk about from our point of view, from VMware point of view, the changing world of IT. VMware is a company that started in 1998. It was a spin-off from Stanford University, founded by a professor, Mendel Rosenblum, and a few of his students, as well as his wife. When VMware got started is when x86 as a platform is taking over the world. The virtualization technology was not invented at VMware. It was invented back in the 60s on the mainframe computers, where you can create many virtual machines running on a large system, having different workloads happening at the same time, very well isolated from each other. But for x86, such a model was not existing before. And in the late 90s, when the computer getting big, there is a need from the high-end server vendors to encourage multiple workloads to happen at the same time on the same physical system. And that's when Mendel Rosenblum kind of reinvented the virtualization technology for the x86 chips, so that you can run multiple virtual machines on the same physical CPU. And at the beginning, it was more of a niche product for the high-end servers. And the first time I actually used myself the VMware technology was in 1999. I was developing on Linux, but I was also playing games on Windows. So I need to have the two things happen at the same time, and I need to be able to switch them very fast, because when I notice if my boss walk in the room, I can quickly switch to the right operating system. And the product that helped me out there was the VMware Workstation product. So I don't know how many of you here are using any form of VMware product today. Can you raise your hand? It's probably, and how many are using Fusion or Workstations? And how about ESX, as well as vSphere server-based products? Great. Yeah, so how I learned about VMware was about 10 years ago from the Workstation products. And in 2003, 2004, kind of VMware turned that technology from a niche product for high-end servers as well as workstations into more general purpose server. So instead of running the hypervisor on an existing operating system, that we created our own operating system that's called ESX, so that you do not need fundamental layer of software beneath the hypervisor, but rather the ESX perform the basic resource management capabilities. And today the ESX is evolving to ESXi. And overall, the way that people using VMware has also evolved. Instead of running multiple virtual computers on one physical system, now the customers are using VMware as turning multiple physical systems into one virtual resource pool, so that you can have many workloads working together on the same physical pool, and we automate a lot of the underlying resource management issues within our ESX and within our hypervisor. So instead of a one-to-n virtualization, we're also moving to n-to-1 virtualization. And because of this transition from just the server virtualization to virtual infrastructure, that's the reason VMware is associated with a recent phenomenon, a buzzword that's called cloud. Because it's people's belief, whether you're talking about public cloud or private cloud, one of the fundamental benefits is you turn all the physical resources into a more fungible pool that you can manipulate and automate to achieve higher efficiency and higher agility. And this can be done in the public cloud, outside the firewall, or can be done for enterprises within the firewall. And coming along with this cloud wave, which is widely regarded as such wave that happens every 10 or 15 years, we are seeing from the mainframe to PC, from the just plain PC to a networked PC of the internet, and from the internet to the cloud model, that many other things will be changing. These changes happen in many aspects. And in particular, on this slide, we list out some of the changes that I think a lot of us can associate to ourselves. One, there are a lot of new devices, a lot of new computing devices that we are starting to enter what Steve Jobs is calling a post-PC era, that we have more smartphones, we have the tablets, the iPads, the Android-based tablets. We have other smart devices that we know today, as well as we don't know them, but we know they will come in the next 5 years. And these becomes these are giving trouble to the PC makers. We are seeing a decline that starts to happen into the PC shipment, especially to the desktop shipment that's already declining. The laptop is stalling as well. So with these new devices, kind of new interface to the end users, it has fundamental implications to the how new applications will be designed. There are also new interactions. Many of us are on different forms of social networking, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And if you're in different countries, you might dealing with different social interactions, but it's happening everywhere. I came from China, and I have a Chinese name, and I have an American name. I'm on my U.S. social network. I'm also on my Chinese social network. Even though there's a great wall, that's the great firewall that's sitting in between, but I'm trying to strike the two sides. And within the company to outside the company, there could be multiple social networks as well. There is a company called SocialCast that VMware recently acquired that is trying to bring in the social networking concepts to the enterprises, how the interactions between the employees can be socialized. Instead of doing regular manager to employee reviews and performance measurement, perhaps things can be done in a more social way. There could be asynchronous reviews given by anybody to anybody, and then there could be analytics being performed such interactions between employees that can help doing the performance management and employee management, for example. So these social interactions are affecting both consumers as well as how things are done within the enterprises. And this also drives a wide rewrite of applications that we believe will become reality in the next 5 to 10 years. A lot of the business process applications will need to be rewritten for this new generation. This new generation of 20-something or who are teenagers today who don't use much of email anymore. They have other ways. They have IMs, and now they have social platforms to be the main form of their interaction. How do we design the application to address this so-called Facebook generation? And that's going to drive a application modernization, application rewrite that will redefine the IT landscape. The third is new server. We are talking about cloud. It seems to be a new thing, but we think fundamentally it's not a big change. It's not a fundamental change from the client-server model. It is very, very different. However, cloud is essentially the new server. It's a new server that's beyond a single computer. It's a new server that is a data center that's both could be in the internet somewhere, or it could be in your data center if you're an enterprise customer. And how do you creating the new operating system, new server operating system for this new server that's data center? And how do you design the application software for this new server that can be delivered to the new devices, to the new end users? And this is a new set of problems that require new technologies to be created. And last but not least, there is a new infrastructure and platform that are taking place. As I described in the beginning, we believe virtualization is one of such major trends in the infrastructure space. Around this time, the second half of 2011, we are going through an important transition, almost a transformation. According to the stats by IDC, just around this time, more than 50% of world's applications starting to run in virtual machines rather than physical machines. So more than 50% of the world's workload are running on virtual. That is significant because we think then the virtual world becomes the majority of the system where the virtual, where the application runs. That means for application developers, that becomes the main design center. That you want to design your application, you want to design your data system, you want to design your use cases, assuming that customers are running them on virtual. And that's going to change a few things. And there are many other important changes that are happening in infrastructure. There are more and more cores in a single system. That we predict in the next 5 years, we'll see large systems. Even within a single CPU, there can be 128 or 256 cores. And that has large implications to application as well as data system design. How do you fully utilize all those compute power that's going to be available on a physical system? And there are larger and larger amount of memories available within each system, as well as there could be new storage media, such as flash, or memory that are being used to become the persistent storage for both applications as well as database systems. And all this changes some of the assumptions that we designed our last generations of databases and applications on, and it could disrupt the current leaders in many of the markets today. So this is a changing world of IT. We think we are in a period of transformation, and usually in such period of transformation is when the new players emerge and when the old players start to fade, when some of the come with the chaos of some of the new heroes that's gonna come about. And some of those are brand new heroes. Some of them could be the heroes that has been laying low for 15, 20 years and become taking this opportunity to reemerge on the marketplace. As I said, I'm Chinese, and I used to read a lot of the Chinese history books. And there is one famous novel called The Romance of Three Kingdoms. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And one key thesis, which is not only true for Chinese, but any other culture or dynasties, is every history goes through cycles. You'll go through cycles from unification, usually for a period of time, followed by chaos for a period of time, and then reunification. It's like none of those periods can last forever. And we think IT is in such a period where we are going through from a relative stable situation to a more dynamic period. And it will go through a period of time before this becomes stable again. And to the good news of the newcomers, I think we are in this period of dynamic chaos. And because of this, as related to data, we think we are in the period of data renaissance. That there are a lot of things happening around data, and I think many of you probably know it better than I do as you dealing with the day-to-day. There is explosive of data that are happening. Every year, the size of data itself is growing 60% or more, and this rate will not slow down. It will only increase as we go forward, as there are both user-generated data as well as automatically generated data. There's increasing sensor networks. There are many social platforms that are generating data, and more data can be generated from those data. So this rate will only increase. And from enterprise business point of view, with this increasing amount of data, there's a stronger desire to get immediate value from those data as fast as those data are generated. So there is an increasing need on predictive analytics and to achieve real-time or near real-time insights from the data that's newly generated. Based on a new Facebook stream that you want to make a new recommendation for a user, based on this new input from somewhere, this affects something very far on the other side of the world in some ways. And we see a lot of such examples in many different verticals in the enterprise customers today. And there's also a variety of new data technologies that are emerging over the last 5 years. And we see this will only increase in the next 5 years. And many of those are open source technologies. So open source will continue their entry into the enterprise world that has been happening over the last 10, 15 years. And we think because of things happening in the data space, it will actually contribute to the acceleration of their proliferation into the enterprises. And among these data technologies, there are both SQL technologies as well as so-called NoSQL technologies, and also technologies that's focusing on dealing with the unstructured data. And what comes along with cloud, as pioneered by those, the public cloud players, including Heroku, who is a sponsor here, as well as Salesforce.com, Amazon, Google, and so on, that they have introduced the users to a as-a-service model, where the technologies does not have to be delivered as a shrink-wrapped CD where you install on your server, but you can rather consume it as a service. And comes along with the service is the ease of use, agility, the new barrier to entry for any new consumers who wants to get a taste of the technology. And we believe this as a service model will not only be available in the public cloud, but through the right technologies, the enterprises can be the operator of these technologies as well. And some of these technologies can be delivered as a service, both outside the firewall as well as within the firewall. So all these trends are happening, as we can observe very easily from a lot of different angles. And as a result, we are seeing really a boom in the new techniques and technologies for managing data. We think the last 10 years, if you look at data management, there are many interesting things, but by and large, there is a dominant player, being Oracle, and there are a couple other smaller players, but also, the three of them kind of occupying the space between Oracle and Microsoft and IBM. But we are predicting there will be a change of that. We think instead of the last generation of applications where you can argue you just buy Oracle and it satisfies all your needs. It's a one-size-fits-all. You just buy an Oracle box and put all your data there, and that's how you do your applications. We think we are going to a world where it's going to be let 100 flowers blossom. There will be a myriad of data technologies. And as a customer, and sometimes for a single application, a single technology no longer suffice. You need a combination of technologies for them to work in symphony to enable, to support the needs of a new application. So we think the world of data, with this data renaissance, where we'll be gone with the tyranny, gone with the one-size-fits-all world. Well, we're entering a more heterogeneous world where we call a cloud data fabric. There will be a set of data technologies, SQL, NoSQL, somewhere in between, as well as new methods of managing data. They're going to coexist, and they're going to work together to supporting a new application. So what's kind of VMware's take on this cloud data fabric? So from VMware point of view, that we have a purpose in life, which is to serve the enterprise IT. We want to help our enterprise customers to better leverage their IT assets to help their business. And we believe that you can never do that by ignoring what IT have today. So what IT have today, and they have their existing applications running on existing infrastructure. There are tons of investment that have made there, and we must add value to their existing environments to make sure it runs better to support their existing applications. But at the same time, as we went through, there is this new cloud world that's coming. And there are new class of applications that we can see, as well as those we cannot even see clearly today, but for sure they will come. And how do we help our enterprise customers to free up their investments, free up some dollars to be able to get ready for this new world that are coming? So our goal is to reduce cost and minimize disruptions to the existing infrastructure and the existing applications, at the same time making enterprise customers free up their money to get ready for the new apps to deliver business differentiations. And we want to do that with a common platform. And VMware started with a cloud infrastructure with virtualization at its core, so that the resources, the physical resources, the CPUs, the memories, the storage, the networking, can become more fungible assets that the users can more agilely apply them to different applications, different workloads. And based on that, we believe we can create, or we can help create, a cloud data fabric that can stand up multiple data technologies, that can operationalize multiple data technologies in a more consistent fashion, so that they can be operated by the enterprise IT, but offer, instead of a monolithic database service, but more of a flexible data as a service to the application layer. And on top, creating a good runtime for the applications in a platform as a service. With the offering, there are a number of platform as a service offering on the market today. And what VMware introduced is a service called cloudfoundry.com. And that is essentially an open source with Apache license of a runtime environment that makes it easy for applications to be developed and to be deployed to the cloud. And this cloud can be both a public cloud running at the internet, or it can be a private cloud that's operated by the enterprise IT. And we believe combining those three layers together with the right infrastructure software, with the right data software, and with the right platform as a service, you essentially created this new operating system for the new server, which is the cloud. Because with the operating system, the main purpose for it is, one, managing the physical resources, two, managing the data, as with the Linux, for example, it will be its file system. With the cloud operating system will be this cloud data fabric. And the third, to provide good support, make it easy for the application to be created and to be run on top of this cloud. And them working together will allow developers essentially to create an application for the cloud as easy or easier as you creating application on your PC. That you can develop your application in an integrated environment, and you can just build and run it by a click of a button, and you do not have to worry about behind this cloud how the physical machines as well as virtual machines, how they are interconnected and how the workflow goes. All those can be automated by these three layers. So in particular, with the cloud data fabric, we think it will be a diverse set of data management technologies coexist to support both existing and emerging application needs, as I just explained. Where VMware particular has a value add is it can build on top of the virtualization layer, creating a common deployment operational model for these database technologies. And we will do so by fully leveraging the virtual cloud infrastructure platform. So at the VMworld a couple of weeks ago, we made two important announcements at Paul Moritz's keynote. Paul is our CEO. And number one is we introduced vFabric Data Director. vFabric Data Director is this database as a service platform that automates the provisioning and management and operations of databases. And it will help to reduce the database sprawl that the enterprise customers experience today, as well as streamline the application development deployment process, that the developers and DBAs will be able to achieve higher level agility by deploying databases on top of the vFabric Data Director. And we are doing so by fully leveraging the vSphere virtualization platform, and vSphere 5 is the latest release of it. And in demonstrating this platform, as well as our first attempt into the data management world, that we made a strategic decision at the company level that Paul, as well as the executive team, decides that VMware would like to put our support behind the Postgres as a open source database. And the rationale behind this decision is that we believe Postgres, this is a decision actually at the company level that took quite a few months for us to compare various options we have. And we decided Postgres is the best open source database for the enterprises. And we believe also there will be an increasing consumption by open source databases by enterprises. And because of what's happening to the MySQL by Oracle, we think the opportunity in front of Postgres is huge. And therefore, we want to join the other companies in the market today to support Postgres in a commercial way, to accelerate the adoption of Postgres databases by enterprise customers and making real investment to make it happen. So we decided to make Postgres database to be the first database to be supported by this database as a service platform. And we integrate them fully well so that this become an integrated solution. And that for customers, when they get Data Director, Postgres comes with it. And we hope the Data Director will be widely adopted. And as a consequence, Postgres will be everywhere within the enterprises as well. And in fact, there will be various bundling that we plan to do that so that the Postgres database can be accessed very easily for every one of the customers who are using vSphere today. As you know, vSphere is running more than 50% of the world's workload, meaning that we want to make Postgres available, accessible to those 50% and increasing amount of applications that are running in customers' environments. The Data Director platform is designed to be an open platform, and then we will welcome and encourage other databases to follow. And we'll set up Postgres as an example. And any improvements we made to the Postgres that will benefit the general audience, our plan is to make that open source. And we will be working with the community to see which part of these improvements are suitable to be included in the next version of the Postgres release. The second announcement that Paul made on the keynote stage, which I touched upon, is announcing our support for Postgres product. And the commercial version of the Postgres product is called vFabric Postgres. It is, as I mentioned, the first database to be enabled on vFabric Data Director. It is based on Postgres version 9.0. In our next release, we plan to move to Postgres 9.1 to be in sync with the open source Postgres. This is preaching to the choir here. We believe this is the most enterprise-ready open source database, and we think the future of it is very bright. And we are not alone in such thinking. We did make a number of enhancements to the Postgres, in particular for the virtual environments, as that's what VMware is known for. That one such improvement is the elastic database memory, that we built in some intelligence into the memory management part of Postgres, so that it negotiates with the virtualization layer in an intelligent way to dynamically balance memories between the VMs that are running Postgres. What this allow the customer to do is to achieve the higher consolidation ratio for the databases running on physical hosts. What we also added is some automatic configuration and self-tuning capabilities by taking data from the hypervisors, from the hypervisor to the databases, so database can do some automatic configuration of different parameters to run in a more optimal fashion. We also put in the high availability feature by leveraging on vSphere and having that to be fully integrated with the Postgres database. As I mentioned, these changes we do plan to make them open source so that it can benefit the general Postgres community, as well as serving as examples for the other databases to follow. In conjunction with announcing vFabric Postgres as a product from VMware, we also made the Postgres database service available on cloudfoundry.com. That is our public cloud platform as a service offering, and users will be able to use Postgres, consume Postgres in a more easy fashion. In the short 2 weeks that since we announced the availability of cloudfoundry.com, we have about 100 applications already moving on Cloud Foundry or created on Cloud Foundry using Postgres. And we believe this rate will only increase. So this has become the easy way for application to be written to using Postgres databases. So this is my last slide. And to kind of give you a forward-looking picture of what we envision this data fabric will become. We believe that, as I mentioned, a single database technology, such as Oracle or any others, will no longer be sufficient to meet all of customers' application needs. And this is good news for Postgres, as well as for many other people, because if we do not have such disruptions happening, it's very hard to unshake the monopoly or oligopoly that some players have on this data management space. But because of this change, this gives it kind of brings a democracy to the data management world. We think that in terms of our contribution to the world's data fabric will be on top of virtual infrastructure. How do we create a common operational layer in terms of virtual optimization and data directory layer that can enable multiple data engines? And these are just the first ones, but there could be additional ones with Postgres, SQL File, Gemfire, which are other VMware offered data services, as well as in-memory caching like Redis or Gemfire, which is also, and some of the data sync and data messaging services, such as Rabbit and Octopus from VMware, and how this whole yellow piece is a data fabric piece can be integrated well with modern development frameworks, with the new kind of cloud operating system in the form of platform as a service, and they can be available directly to cloud applications that are written directly on top of infrastructure. So we think this will be a new picture of one embodiment of a data fabric that the new applications can be created on top of. So that's it. I think that's my 20 minutes, a quick introduction of ourselves. And we definitely, from VMware at the company level, we want to put our weight behind the Postgres movement, and we want to learn, and we want to work very closely with the community and hopefully bring brighter futures to all our customers through new age, a new generation of database technologies. And we think Postgres have an important role to play in that new age. Thank you very much.